Time now for Focus. In Western schools, where education is separated from religious morality, a student could become a terrorist. The words of the principal of a school in India funded by Hindu nationalists. Their influence has grown since Prime Minister Narendra Modi came to power. His party, the BJP, rewriting school books to the disadvantage of minorities. Shreya Banerjee reports.
It's test day for these school students. The test with 100 questions on Indian culture is the first of its kind. It's been organized by India's ruling Hindu nationalist party, the BJP. It's not part of the curriculum, at least for now.
We Indians are moving further away from our heritage. That's why we have this test, so that we can build a prosperous nation.
This man is a BJP party worker, not a teacher. Around 1 million students in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh are taking this test. The questions are mainly on Hinduism. Where is the only temple of the Hindu god Brahma? When did the Hindu calendar begin? No other religion is mentioned. No mention, for example, of the 300 million Indian Muslims. But the students find nothing amiss.
The test is focused on India, Indian poets, Indian movements, wars. We learn about our president, our prime minister, their programs and policies. Whatever we study enters our mind and increases our knowledge so that we can succeed in life.
The test organizers are open about their intentions. They want to rewrite history.
Whatever we have learnt from British and Muslim emperors should be removed, and it will be removed. The previous governments did not care about the nation. It is time for our government to put the right heroes in the syllabus.
An Indian newspaper recently reported that certain textbooks had erased all mention of India's first Prime Minister, Jawaharlal Nehru. Nehru was a member of the Congress party, a major rival of the ruling BJP. That's not the only change, says this historian.
Their purpose of coming to power is not power itself, but power to be used for an ideological end, to make India into a Hindu Rashtra. They successfully changed a very large number of history and other social science textbooks. It is a very distorted vision of the past, a wrong vision of the past, a wrong understanding of the past, which they are trying to impose on the present. The education system is a very important means of changing the mindset of society, particularly the young. RSS has always tried to catch them young.
The RSS was founded in the 1930s in India. The Hindu paramilitary organization is very vocal about its anti-minority stance. And the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi is one of its members. The group is looking to erase centuries of Muslim presence in India. Symbols of that time are still very visible in the country. This is a school fully funded by the Hindu nationalists. The RSS says there are at least 12,000 of these in India, with 3.5 million students. Every morning, the children begin their day with a prayer. Prayers are followed by a religious ceremony and the principal's speech. The students do the same exercises every day.
For the pupils, the school is a temple. The sacred texts of Mahabharata, Gita and Ramayana are the basis of their education. In Western schools, where education is separated from religious morality, a student could become a terrorist.
A narrative that glorifies Hindus and casts minorities as outsiders. By introducing these ideas in schools through tests and the modification of textbooks, the BJP is looking to influence the thinking of young people. Almost half of India's population is under the age of 25.
For more on this, I'm now joined in the studio by Olivier Guillard, Asia Research Director at France's Institute of International and Strategic Relations. Hello, thank you very much indeed for coming in. First of all, if you could tell us a bit more about the RSS. I understand it helped propel Narendra Modi to power.
Absolutely. Let's say that this is a kind of sister ship from the current political party that is in power for the last 3 years in India. It's a kind of movement that is between culture, sports, ideology. It's something that is supposed to be closer to the rightist side of the political spectrum in India than to the left, obviously. And this is a kind of pretty large organization. It's not supposed to be, it's a place for each and every Indian, but still the mainly pillars of this organization is mainly based on Hinduism and Hindu philosophy. And this is not a secret organization. It's a pretty large. You can, when you are lucky enough to visit regularly this country, you find pretty large places where you see guys training, young guys training.
Any idea of the numbers?
They are by millions, yeah, they definitely. But once again, it's not a secret organization. It's pretty. Your colleague said it properly a few minutes ago that this is an organization that's probably 70 or 80 years old, and there has been a large numbers of even political leaders, regional or national, that joined this organization many years or decades ago. So, and once again, it's not seen like a political party as such. But this is a kind of internship preparing guys to join the right side of the political spectrum or the Hindu society in an Indian nation.
So how many members of the current government do you think are there who were once members of the RSS, and how crucial a role does it play in the government now?
This is quite an interesting issue. I don't have exactly the numbers in mind, but I would say that probably over 1 people out of 2 in this government on the national basis. Where regionally, once again, we need to remember that India is a federation, federalist countries. Each and every of the 30 states has quite a different type of local government with different kind of competencies. But at the national level, in the current government, that is an Hindu nationalist government. It's not, as such, this is not a crime to have such an agenda. I mean, so they came to power peacefully. Narendra Modi 3 years ago won the general elections very easily, with such a numbers that we had not seen such a success for at least 30 years in the country. So there has not been any crime, they arrived by the vote in what India is called the largest democracy in the world. It's not for nothing. At the moment, let's say that around Narendra Modi, which remains extremely popular 3 years after arriving to power, he has a lot of people around him that do belong from a close side or from a longer side to this Hinduism movement.
Because you say, yes, democratically elected, but you mentioned crime, and there has been a rise recently in religiously motivated violence. Is that not in part because of the intolerance towards minorities that the BJP is displaying, and really not hiding in any way?
That could partly explain the situation. After that, you just need to look 10 years ago, 20 years ago, 30 years ago. I was a student in this country 30 years ago. There were already ethnico-religious confrontation and violence between Hindu and Muslim, between Hindu and Christian, between Christian and others. So it's part of the story of this 1.3 billion population. And to be really frank, there has not been the numbers that have not been multiplied by 2, 3, or 6. No, there is a sort of slight trend to see more ethno-religious violence. It's not about crime, it's about confrontations. But once again, it's part of the story of the modern India.
What about dissent, though, cracking down on dissent? Recently there was a high-profile journalist who was killed, and she was a critic of Hindu nationalism. Is that not something that is peculiar to recent times and the atmosphere at the moment in India?
I don't believe so. I mean, if this is based only on one fact, it's not enough. It's not a scientific perspective. Just think about something. Mahatma Gandhi, the philosopher behind the modern vision of India, was killed by an Hindu fundamentalist. So it was 70 years ago. So I have not seen in this country that has probably one of the largest and freest press situation in the world, I have not seen such a huge tsunami or surge of such crime. It's a sad story, but still, we cannot say that the situation today is so complicated in India for the journalists. It's not the case. It's probably one of the freest press in the whole Asian region.
So the wider population still very much supports Narendra Modi?
Definitely, yeah.
All right, thank you very much indeed. We'll have to leave it there, Olivier Guillard. Thank you for your time. Thank you for watching. I'll be back at the top of the hour with a full news roundup.